less than 2 weeks, anyone caught with small amounts of marijuana will be given a ticket rather than going to jail. District Attorney Faith Johnson is a Republican and among those who say this is a good idea. She's here to talk about the implications of the new ordinance, and joining the questioning as always is Bud Kennedy of the Star-Telegram. Mr. DA, thanks for being here. Bud, good to see you.
Good morning.
May I correct you?
You shook your head in the open there. Tell me why you shook your head.
They'll be given a summons, right?
Right, thank you. It's not a ticket, and that is the misinformation. That's why we're having a cite and release community forum on November the 28th, St. Paul Methodist Church, Pastor Butler's church, because people are misinformed in terms of what cite and release is. So it is not a ticket, it's a summons.
Well, yeah, so walk us through that. If someone's caught with what amount of marijuana, what happens to them, and is it up to the officer's discretion?
Yeah, well, this is what's happening. If anyone is caught with marijuana in the city of Dallas, right, and the amount of that marijuana is 4 ounces or less, then the officer has the right to cite them, meaning give them a summons to report to court later. Now, the offense is not no jail time at all. It still has the same range of punishment. The only problem is, or the only issue is that the officer will cite them, give them a summons, and release them. And that's for the city of Dallas only. If you can recall, the city council voted several months ago that they would adopt cite and release. So we've been working with them, and they asked the district attorney's office would they work with them in terms of making this program work. So we said to them we would do that. So cite and release starts December the 1st. However, come out on November the 28th so that you can get all the information you need to get about cite and release. We're
less than 2 weeks away, but on the 28th, when you have this community forum, what do you expect to encounter?
Well, we're hoping that people first will come out, and we will have Judge Mulder, who is the presiding judge over the misdemeanor courts, and you will have Sheriff Valdez there. You also have Chief Tittle. So we're going to have a panel of members who have been working with cite and release. I mean, these folks, we've been working on it for months, right, and so that we can really nail it down, get all the kinks and the whatever the bugs out of it, so that we'll be ready to go on December the 1st. So we're hoping to be able to educate the people, the citizens of Dallas County, as to what cite and release really means.
Now, what's good about cite and release, and what's bad about it from your end? It saves some county money. It saves city police time. Yeah. It saves some county money on jail.
Well, what the city is saying, the city of Dallas is saying, look, we're down by 500 officers. We need our officers to focus on something else, something bigger than marijuana cases, 4 ounces of less. So for them, the officer will be able to cite, release them, and go and hopefully chase the murderers and the rapists and the more serious offenses. For Dallas County, what we're hoping to achieve is that there will be less county time, jail time. People are actually in jail, and hopefully would save bed space for other criminals who are the murderers or the rapists or what have you.
And realistically, what sentences are you seeing now for small possession of marijuana? They're not going to trial probably. What sentences?
Really what we're doing is, and keep in mind, we have 26 cities in Dallas County. Dallas, the city of Dallas is the only city that has agreed to do cite and release.
Everyone else, you still go to jail.
Well, you can still go to jail. All the other cities, they will actually go to jail. But what we have agreed to do is to do a PR bond so that we can equalize it, so that no one is really staying in jail. Although they're not in the city of Dallas, we have agreed to offer PR bonds for all the other cities to try to equalize it. And we want to say to people, it doesn't matter whether you come through cite and release or not. We at the DA's office will prosecute these cases the same. And what's so critical about what we're about to do is we will still offer what we call the memo program for anybody who has been charged with the offense of marijuana, 4 ounces of less, whether you come through cite and release or not. So everyone will get the same opportunity in terms of prosecution.
Many conservatives still think marijuana is a gateway drug. What do you tell those fellow Republicans who think this might be taking it easy on them?
Well, what I say to people, my position is that I'm your chief law enforcement officer in Dallas County. I'm going to enforce the law. marijuana is still an offense. So until our legislators decide that it won't be an offense, that's their responsibility. My responsibility is to make certain that all laws are enforced. Yes, we can offer PR bonds, we can offer memo agreement, we can offer treatment, and all those other things. I have that discretion as your DA, but you can count on me to enforce the laws, all laws of this state and of this county.
Faith, I want to ask you, background checks for gun buyers have been in the news a lot lately. In particular, the concerns that people convicted of domestic violence or a felony are somehow able to buy guns easily because they don't wind up on the list. How does that list work from your department's end? What's the process for making sure that people convicted of domestic violence can't buy guns?
I don't know if you all know that we also have implemented in Dallas County an MOU program. We are working with all agencies, the police department, sheriff department, other agencies. We want to make certain that people who have guns, that we are able to get those guns surrendered in our domestic violence cases. So we are working toward that through our MOU program to make certain those guns are taken off the street.
Who's making sure the background checklist is accurate?
Well, we are working with the sheriff department, we're working with the police department to make certain of that, but most importantly, we have our MOU in place.
And that's a memorandum of understanding?
Memorandum of understanding, and all parties have signed off on that memorandum of understanding so that we can all work collaboratively to make certain that people who have committed domestic violence will not have guns. Because if you do know anything about guns and domestic violence, if a gun is in the house, you have almost 5 times chances of someone getting killed in domestic violence circumstances.
Final moments. Dallas's police chief disbanded the vice unit, the city's vice unit here, after questions surfaced about how it was run. Does that jeopardize any existing vice cases that your prosecutors currently have in court?
Well, we're looking at that. We haven't discovered whether or not there will be any issues. Obviously, we're going to be very careful in terms of looking at those cases, and if we think there's anything there, you better believe that we're going to do the right thing.
Nothing found so far?
Nothing found so far.
Right. Thanks for correcting. It's a summons, not a ticket.
It's a summons, not a ticket.
And the event is November 28th. We'll have details on our website here at WFA.com. Faith Johnson, good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me.